Hello, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. Today I wanted to talk about standing in your truth and how sometimes that can be hard for some people. But before I get into that, I invite you to check out the link in the comments below to my book called You Are Made to Heal, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I don't have all the answers, but what I do share in my book are things that have helped me in my healing journey. I was stuck for 30 plus years, and the two main driving negative emotions were depression and suicidal thoughts. And I was not in a good spot, and I was not a happy person. And when I hit rock bottom in the fall of 2015, I feel like I just turned my life over to Christ and God. And I just, you know, had humility. And I just asked them to show me how to be happy. They quickly taught me that happiness came from within, and I was like, okay, well, I am not a happy person, and you're going to have to show me what this looks like. Like, how do I find happiness within if I can't even stand to be by myself? And so just they put me on this beautiful journey, and there's a lot of outside of the box ideas. And when I wrote this book, I was thinking of every teenager and adult out there. No matter where you find yourself in your mindset, you might think, I'm a positive person, I don't need anything like that. But there is something for everybody in there, because everybody benefits from mindfulness, and everybody benefits from techniques using mindfulness and a better mindset. So check it out in the comments below. Okay, so I wanted to talk about being able to stand in your truth no matter what. Sometimes that is very hard. So I happen to be a middle child, and whether you're a middle child or not, but I just know middle children, especially since I relate best with them because that's what I'm used to, they tend to want to make peace, keep the peace, and they don't want to say stuff in, like, okay, for me, I didn't want to say stuff because I didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or I just didn't want to rock the boat, or maybe I just didn't want the repercussions that might have come if I did speak my mind. With my parents growing up, like, I felt like I couldn't say what I wanted to because it was, I was raised very much in a household where you listen when you're spoke to and you don't say anything. It's more of a to be seen and not heard kind of a thing, because I believe that's how my parents were raised. And it definitely wasn't that strict when I was growing up, but just that generational thing that creeps up in some households. I should have brought my water. I ate a bunch of pineapple and now my throat tickles, so I apologize if I'm going to be coughing. So how do we stand in our own and in our power? And it's important. So we have 7 chakras, and I want to just talk over the 7 chakras really quick. But the one I want to focus on is the throat chakra. That we have the crown chakra, the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and we have the sacral chakra and the root chakra. If you're not familiar with chakras, and you're interested in learning more about it, I'm not going to go into detail, but I do want to focus on the throat chakra, because a lot of people, I'm a foot zone practitioner, and when I am doing foot zoning, a lot of the times I'll feel in the foot a lot of crunchiness in the throat area, which means when I come across that when I'm doing a foot zone, it means that they can't fully say what they want to say on their mind. They feel like they can't speak and say what's on their mind, and have a hard time expressing themselves for one reason or another, right? So it's important to be able to speak your mind, and especially if you are seeing something that isn't right. Maybe you're in a public setting. Let's just imagine yourself in a public setting and you see something that's morally wrong, and it's a complete stranger. Are you going to be brave enough to say, hey, that is not right? It's important. I believe we as a people need to be able to stand up and speak for those that can't speak. Maybe you run into a parent that is not being very kind to their child and humiliating their child in a large crowd or whatever. Or maybe somebody's getting picked on. Are you going to be willing to stand in your truth and knowing that that is not right? Are you going to be willing to stand up for what is right? And it takes us getting out of our comfort zone. So I wanted to talk about the importance of standing in our truth, whatever that might be. I love Brene Brown because she talks about having a value system, and we rule the majority of our lives over two values. What is most important to you? So what is most important to you? And one thing that has always been important to me is speaking truth, telling the truth, being honest with people. And that's one of my truths, right? But maybe that's not one of your truths, maybe, or your value system. Maybe it's something completely different. But you pick your top two values, and that's what you rule the majority of your life around. And so it's so important to be firm and steadfast and planted in truth and in being solid, because guess what? If we are not planted in a belief system, whatever that is, if we are not planted in that belief system, then we are going to be like a plastic bag blowing in the wind, blowing in the air, just every which way, wherever the wind wants to take us. And that's where we end up. Is that how you want life to be? Do you want to just be able to just let others and situations just blow you around and you land haphazardly wherever? Or do you want to be planted knowing where it is you go because you have a belief system, you have a solid ground, and you feel like you can speak whatever it is you stand for? Because if you do not stand for anything, and if you're not going to stand for things, then we fall. There's a song, I think, oh gosh, it's probably Aaron Tippett. I think that's his name. I haven't listened to country forever, but there's this country song that talks about you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And it is so true. We have to stand for things. We have to be able to be firm in our beliefs, because if we are not, then we are going to buy into the lies or fall because of pride, or fall because of not being able to know what it is where we stand. So knowing where we stand is so important. So I want you to focus on that in your personal healing and growth. And are you being honest with yourself? Are you being truthful with yourself? How are you in your spiritual growth? How are you in your emotional growth? How are you in your mental growth? And how are you in your physical growth? Are you being honest? Do you stand firm in those areas, in belief systems? It's important. I'm a pretty strict person, right? So I'm very like, okay, I want to be in good standing with God spiritually, right? So guess what? I'm going to put in the work day in and day out, having that open line of communication every day with God and Christ. And then emotionally, I want to be able to process through my emotions and be honest with myself, own up to the not so positive emotions. If I'm having an angry day or if I'm having a frustrating day, it's important to own where you're at, because when we're willing to own where we're at, then we're willing to, and usually when we own where we're at, we don't like being in that situation. And so we'll do what it takes to flip it around. So owning it and being willing to process through those emotions is huge. And mentally, are we being truthful to ourselves? Are we putting good things into our mind? If you want goodness to come your way, whatever we put in, we will put out. So putting in, that's talking about music, books we read, the entertainment we choose, the people we associate with. It's important. It truly matters, because it shapes us into who we will become. So there's a saying, I don't know who said this, but I am just pulling it out from my memory of what was told me growing up. But show me your friends and I'll show you your future. That plays a lot into that. So whoever it is you're going to spend your time with, then that is what's going to come of you. And physically, are you being honest with yourself physically? And whatever that looks like for you. Some people isn't as extreme as I am. I'm probably the extreme of the extreme. I eat a very clean diet, and I watch everything that goes into my mouth, and I make sure I get that physical exercise, and make sure I drink plenty of water day in and day out, because it's important. If you want to feel good, are you being honest with yourself, and are you honoring yourself by taking care of yourself physically? It matters, because when we take care of ourselves really well physically, it will affect us spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It will have an impact. If you are not caring for your body and letting things slip and go to the wayside, it is going to affect your spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being as well, in a negative way. So God bless you in your healing journey, and you are doing a lot better than you think you are. We tend to be our own worst critic, and it's so important to, when those negative thoughts get in your mind, to repeat, I am enough. I am more than enough. And just know that God loves you lots more than I love you. I love everyone, and it's important to share those feelings of love, having thoughts of love towards all of mankind, rather than the other way around, because it only hurts us when we have ill feelings one to another. So please like and subscribe to this channel, share it with others, and until next time, we'll be talking to you later. Bye.